Is the Miyoo Flip version 2 the Hulk Hogan of retro handhelds?
Let me tell you something, brothers!
The reason I say that is Miyoo has put itself at the top of the retro gaming community. The Miyoo Mini and Miyoo Mini Plus have been some of the best handhelds in the retro gaming community for a long time, basically dropping leg drops on other retro handhelds for years now. So for a good while, there was lots of rumors going around about a Miyoo Flip, and we finally got one recently in December 2024. The only problem with that is when it showed up, there were some things that people really didn't like about it, and it was a bit disappointing. I understand people's disappointment with this when it came out, especially after waiting so long. It kind of reminded me of Hulk Hogan getting booed out of the building on the first Raw on Netflix this year, given the fact that he's such an icon in wrestling. But a lot of those boos were well deserved. And fun fact, I used to wrestle years ago, but that's a completely different story. But lately, I've been wrestling with the idea of, should people buy these now with the improvements, or should they buy something else? Do you love Hulk Hogan, or do you hate Hulk Hogan? So I'm going to go over the improvements that they made in this video and what my thoughts are on that. Also, I'm going to tell you about some things you should be wary of if you do decide to pick one of these up. So obviously the first topic we should talk about is how they improved the hinge. The first plastic hinge is kind of cheap feeling. It does make noise when you just move it like that, and when it snaps into place, it does have a little bit of snapping to it. It feels a little bit strong, and when you slowly close it, it does close on its own, but it is pretty weak and flimsy. You can see that even if I push it down, you can still see underneath it because it's not really fully closed. And if I give it a little shake like that, you can see that it is open a little bit. It's not really the greatest, and it does feel really cheap. People were pretty disappointed with that. So what they've done to improve this is put a steel hinge in here. So it definitely has more of a snap. When you close it and open it, it snaps into place a lot nicer and feels more solid. It makes less noise when you move it like this compared to the older one. And the good news is, when I close it, it snaps really tight. It's closed up really nicely. I can't see through it this time. If I move it a little bit with my finger, it just instantly wants to close up tight again. So yeah, it's definitely a lot stronger, and it's nice to see that they fixed that issue as well. But to be honest with you, people are still receiving these and their hinge is already broken before they even use it. I received a comment on one of my posts that someone received their Miyoo Flip V2 and their hinge broke within 2 hours of playing with it. They also told me that they took it apart. They were kind enough to send me a couple of photos, and as you can see, there's the steel hinge with the plastic around it that broke. And you can see in Rudy's second photo, the hinge is split right apart even when it's closed. So that's really bad. So thank you, Rudy, for sending that over. That was really helpful. And I mean, depending on who you buy it from, you may be able to just get your money back, or in some cases you can pay for the shipping to send a new one out, or they'll just send you a new shell and you can put a new shell on. My advice, when you get this in the mail, use it. Have fun with it. Play your games. Make sure you really test these out. Make sure it's working properly. Now, credit to Miyoo. They could have just did nothing and left version 1 as it was, but they didn't. They're trying to make the experience a lot better. The only thing is, it might just be too little, too late. And Miyoo might just be getting booed out of this year's Retromania. The next thing that they improved are the joysticks. On version 1, when you move these around, they are very stiff. It kind of feels like you have to put quite a bit of force just to move these around, and especially with this form factor where it's not very comfortable to reach down here and you have to kind of hold it different ways. So with version 2, these are really loose now. Like, they still have a little bit of nice resistance to them, but not much at all. Like, to move these around is so easy. So if I'm playing like this over a longer period of time, I won't have as much strain on my hand just trying to push these around. But these joysticks feel so good, I gotta say. I've always liked having joysticks down here just in case you want them like this, but they just feel a lot smoother and easy to use. You still have the ability to move Mario really fast, or you can move him really slow with the joysticks. There is still a little bit of cardinal snapping on the Y and X axis, so you can expect Mario to be a little bit jittery. So one thing I mentioned in my original version 1 video is the joysticks have like these open spaces down here, and I think these might be a little bit of a dirt trap. I mean, on both of these devices I can see down past the black plastic, so it's just something to keep in mind. One advantage that the gray Super Nintendo color and the yellow color had in version 1 was the plastics had a nice texture to them. Some people say that these feel really cheap, but I find the plastic feels really nice in your hands, especially when you're playing for a long time. It just has like a nice texture to it. But if you bought version 1 and you got a black color or a white color, the plastic on those felt a lot smoother and it left grease from your hands on them that were visible and stuff like that. But the good news is they kept the plastic on these the same and they implemented them in the black and the white colors now too. So it's really nice that they listened to everyone and they kept this type of plastic from the first release, but no matter which color you get now, they'll all have this type, which feels way better. There's another sort of improvement with this one, which is very important in comparison to version 1, and that's the SD card. So you can see on my version 1, my SD card is a 64GB knockoff card. I got this directly from Miyoo store. These cards are just absolutely garbage. Anyway, for those of you watching, I'm warning you. These will break, so at least back these up somewhere. This is way better and this is very reliable. So if you got a version 2, let me know down below which card did you get, and either way, no matter which one you get, make sure to back these up on a computer somewhere or something, so if something ever did go wrong, at least you'd have your files. There's 2 exciting things that they upgraded in the settings that you can change now, which makes it a lot better than version 1. They're both at brightness 0, but obviously version 1 is a lot darker than version 2. That's because people didn't like how dark this screen was, so they gave us a lighter screen on version 2. If I put these both all the way up to 10, this is a lot brighter than this one. This is becoming overexposed in comparison to this on my camera. There's something else that's really awesome that you should notice on this screen as well. Version 2 now has Bluetooth unlocked. You can see it's not over here at all, which I really didn't like. So I'm going to test that out right now with this $30 controller I just reviewed from Ace Gamer. So before I turn on Bluetooth, I'm going to put my controller in pairing mode and then turn Bluetooth on. But my Bluetooth's not working at all. So I'm going to test Bluetooth out with my Retro Fighters controller. But I can confirm that my Bluetooth's not working at all. I have both controllers trying to pair right now, and it's just not picking it up. So I've made a discovery, and I think I know how to fix Bluetooth on this device. It hasn't been updated. You can see it's 2024 version, but whoever's in charge of supplying these cards has old firmware on it, and that should be fixed right away, so I will let them know that. And remember Rudy, who sent me those photos over the broken hinge? He also said that he bought his V2 from a different store, but also received the V1 firmware. So if you receive one, just make sure you got the latest firmware. If I actually scroll down to the bottom, you can see the website where you can update this from. So let's update this device. It takes like 30 seconds. It's super easy. Just make sure you have your files backed up. Alright, I'm on this website and I'm just going to go to firmware download. And if I scroll down, I can see the Miyoo Flip firmware that I want to download. It'll bring you to another website. Just click download. When you get this file, it's going to be zipped. So I'm just going to extract that here. And inside the folder, you'll find another folder. So in here, you have 4 different files. You only need this folder and this image file. Everything else you can ignore. There is a text file here with instructions in it, but ignore it. It's bullshit. So here's what you really got to do. It's super easy. On the right-hand side, you can see my SD card that I just put into my computer. This is the Miyoo 355 folder, so I'm just going to delete that altogether. Say yes. And then drag these 2 files over. And we just got to put the SD card back in the device and that's it. But like I said before, make sure you back up all these files on your computer in case anything goes wrong. So I'll put that back in and turn the power on. And you can see it's doing a system upgrade. It was really easy to do, but it is annoying that I had to do that. So I'm going to test out both controllers now with Bluetooth. Now I'm running the 2025 version. So let's try to pair this again, and then I'll turn on Bluetooth. And there's my controller. I told you this works with everything. Connect, yep. Sweet. It's working. So I'm just going to turn Bluetooth off again and then connect this one. Now I'm connected. So here's where the fun starts. So if I move Sub-Zero, you can see that my controller is working fine. And if I move Kano with my N64 controller, this is working fine as well. I'm pretty pumped about this, not gonna lie. Now we're rocking and rolling. And if you have the original version of the Miyoo Flip, this update works the exact same, but honestly, both of these should have had that from the very start. The cool thing about this handheld too is that it has HDMI mini out, so you can hook this up to a monitor or a TV to have a bigger screen. If you want a full guide on how to set controllers up with your games on devices like this, I recently made a full video about that with RetroArch. So one thing that messed me up, and I've heard people talk about before, is you can see on my version 1, if I go into my games, they're all there, no problem. My SD card is in TF1, which you'd expect, but on my version 2, if I go into my games, you can see that they're all there just fine, but my SD card is in TF2. I don't know why that happens to handhelds, but it seems to happen randomly, so just keep that in mind. You might have to put your card on either side. So, would I recommend this device for people to buy if they're thinking about it? Short answer is yes, but I'll explain why. When it comes to flip handhelds like this, there's really not that many on the market. You have the Miyoo Flip, you got the Anbernic RG35XX SP, which is amazing, and you've got the old Powkitty V90, but it's not very powerful, so it doesn't really hold up to these at all. And there are a couple of others out there, but basically the two that are in competition with each other right now are these two. They do have the same size screen. The big differences here is there's no joysticks on this one, and if I close them up, the Miyoo Flip is smaller than Anbernic's 35XX SP. The SP is amazing, obviously. It's been out a while. There's lots of custom firmwares available for it. The build quality is very good. People don't like the buttons so much because they're a bit clicky, but they have softened these up in newer models. And the buttons on this are so quiet, you can take it wherever you go and it won't bother anyone that you're playing next to. And because this one's bigger, when you hold it in your hands, it's just a lot more substantial. It's a lot better for adults to play because it's a bigger device, so this is more ergonomic, obviously. You know, all around, this is just an extremely solid device. You can't go wrong with buying one of these. But in 2024, when I was playing this, honestly, there were times where I threw on like an N64 game or a Dreamcast or something like that, and I tried to play it with like the weird control configurations because there's no sticks on this. And there were times where I was like, man, it'd be cool if this like had a stick or something. So that is something that I really enjoy about this. When I'm playing newer games, I have these sticks available down here. Especially playing N64 games where I can use this stick as the C buttons. And because it's a smaller, I just find it's much lighter to grab and put in my pocket and take wherever. Compared to this one, which is a bit bigger. And I find that when I travel around with this, I usually put this one in like a bag or something that I'm taking with me. I don't usually put this one in my pocket because it is a bit heavier too. This is just like a little too big. This size is just perfect. It is a little bit bigger than the Powkitty V90, and you know, they do kind of step up in size. Now, I already mentioned that this was the weakest one of the group when it comes to power. The SP is almost as powerful as the Flip, but the Flip is a little bit more powerful than this one. So there's a lot of potential with this with custom firmware, and I really hope that people release firmwares that take advantage of this and increase the performance and get all the bugs sorted out. One other thing that I've recommended and I made a guide on is if you own a Miyoo Flip, you may be interested in a different firmware that's out right now called MIUI. Definitely check that out if you just want a very simplified device with no external controllers. But just like that screen just said, I don't know, is time up for this already? Have people kind of lost interest in this? Is it too late? I don't think so. It has had a couple of hiccups so far, but it's only a few months old, so I think that this is going to improve on Miyoo's side. I also think the retro gaming community is going to release custom firmwares that are really going to enhance this for people, and they're really going to enjoy it. But there's no denying that there's going to be lots of people out there that have bad experiences with the hinges. Your card might have old firmware on it. People might not like the feel of the device. They might think it feels cheap. But I don't know, this just clicks with me, pardon the pun. And the overall experience, just doing what this is meant to do, play games, when I'm in a game, I just thoroughly enjoy using this thing. So yeah, I think this is a great handheld with lots of potential in the future, but if you do pick one of these up, provided that your hinge isn't broken, you might just find yourself saying your prayers and taking your vitamins.